Good morning, everyone. We have to start our good morning, everyone, and we have to start our 3-day online workshop on applications of boundary element method in culture, heritage, and structural engineering industry. My name is Yusuf Rashid. I am professor at Cairo University. My location here at Cairo University, and we are sitting nearby our group here who is attending not online with me the workshop. Before I start to talk, I would like to thank everybody because at my location here it is 10:30. In Los Angeles, I guess it is very hard to join from there. It is 1:30 at morning. In New York City, it is 4:30 at morning, and in UK now, UK time is 9:30, and in Athens 11:30, and in Tokyo is the best time. I think it's 5:30 at afternoon. I would like to welcome some professors with me now. Professor Casticadellis, of course, he is my father in boundary elements, as I always say that. Professor Sharif Murad from Cairo University, who is a first speaker. Professor Magid Hassan from the British University in Egypt, and I can see a lot of other guys. I don't know from where they are, but we have Professor Samir Mahani with us also from Cairo University. We have Professor Ashraf Nail from Research Center at Egypt here. I don't know from where the rest from where, but I welcome everyone. I would like to talk about our workshop. We are trying hard to disseminate some knowledge about culture heritage, about boundary element method mainly because this is my interest, and I believe it is the best thing in this life, to be honest. Our workshop has two main axes. The first axis is we will talk about culture heritage. We have a project with our colleagues at UK, Professor Ashraf Ayub and Professor Piero Francesco. Professor Ashraf Ayub from City University and Piero Francesco from Brighton. He's talking about culture heritage for monuments in Egypt, and we selected two main sites, the Zoser State Pyramid and the Cairo Citadel, to study these two monuments. We have, or we planned mainly to carry out the analysis for the superstructure using finite elements due to the variety of the structure itself, and the substructure, the soil, using boundary elements, and we developed series of formulations for dynamic analysis using boundary elements. And we will talk about it in this workshop. So this is the first axe. The second axe is mainly about the implementation and new development at boundary elements. The new developments in boundary elements, I believe that the method itself is existed before any other method, to be honest, because it is a natural extension of elasticity, to be honest. It's not a numerical method as finite elements and finite difference. So it exists mainly before these methods, and we would like to highlight a series of stuff about this. In this workshop, we will have a series of speakers at the first axis. For example, Professor Sharif Murad, Professor Piero Francesco, Professor Ashraf Ayub, Dr. Ahmad Omar, and Dr. Masoud from City University or Brighton University. On the other hand, we have a series of speakers to cover the second axe We have a series of speakers to cover the second X. We have Professor Kastikadillis from Greece, Professor Xinghua from Australia and China, Professor Edward Kansa from the States, Professor Alex Chang from the States also. They will be talking together with me personally, and Dr. Ahmed Fadi and Dr. Muhammad Kamal. We'll talk about boundary elements and new developments in boundary elements. We will cover mainly also request by a lot of researchers in boundary elements to implement boundary elements in the structural engineering industry. We are going to present, I think, in the third day, we are going to present a very long lecture. We are going to present a very long lecture in the first time slot in the third day about the software we developed, the PLPAC. It is huge presentation, contains a lot of details, but we are going to move fast through these details. This lecture will take about 2 hours, but we'll have in the middle some breaks to take a cup of tea or coffee or something like that. The first day, before talking about the first day, I would like to remind you, you can log in at the feedback form at any time you like. At this feedback form, you can choose the lecture you want and write your feedback. We will collect this feedback and send it to our speakers after the talk. Then we will contact you again by their reply. We are going to contact you again by their reply. So you can go to this feedback form, write any feedback you want, and you can register over there if you want your data to be with us to inform you about everything we have in future. I would like also to tell you that every lecture we have, we will give the lecture about 30 minutes. All lectures, we give 30 minutes lecture. At the end of this lecture, we usually give 15 minutes for discussion. If there is no discussion, we will ask you to go to have a cup of tea or a cup of coffee or something like that and take some rest and refreshments. In the first day, I would like to cover what we have. I would like to cover what we have through the 3 days. In the first day, we have series of lectures, about 6 lectures, 5 lectures, I'm sorry, apart from this opening. The first lecture is going to be given by Professor Sharif Murad. Professor Sharif Murad is a great guy. He's my older brother, and he used to be our dean for the Cairo University Faculty of Engineering. He's talking about numerical modeling and system identification of historic masonry structure in historic Cairo using dynamic investigation tests. It will be followed by Professor Majid Hassan. He is my second older brother also. He is a dean for the British University in Egypt, the College of Engineering. He is going to talk about cultural heritage preservation using smart structural health monitoring. It will be followed by Dr. Pier Francesco from Brighton. He's going to talk about control of ground vibration through vibration barriers. It is a new idea about something called VIBA, or vibration barriers, is to control structures, but without touching the structure itself. Then it will be followed by our great professor, our legend, Professor Kastikadillis. He's my father, as I always say. He's going to talk about fractional derivatives in mechanics and its future perspectives. If I talked from now something like 1 hour more about Professor Kastikadillis, I will not finish. Professor Kastikadillis is one of the pillars of boundary elements, and I believe he is one who developed something called analog equation method. And this analog equation method, amazingly, is using only in boundary elements, and I believe it could be used for finite elements or for anything. I will not talk about Professor Castigliarellis. We will be waiting for his lecture, and I believe it will be great. Second day, we will have 6 lectures or 5 lectures also. It will be started by Dr. Masoud from City University or Brighton, I'm not sure. He's talking about something about vibration control for Zoser pyramid itself. Dr. Ashraf Ayub will follow Masoud, talking about damage, earthquake damage mitigation of Saqqara pyramid. They will cover the Saqqara pyramid, these two, and it will be followed by Dr. Ahmad from Fayoum University here. He will be talking about Cairo Citadel. And then will be followed by Professor Alex Chang. He is going to talk about meshless technique in the method of fundamental solution, which is meshless version of the boundary element method. Then it will be followed by Professor Edward Kansa. Professor Edward Kansa is a founder of Kansa method. It is named on his name. It is alternative or a second approach to solve partial differential equations in its differential form. It's like finite difference, but he is solving it using collocation technique. He is one of the great guys also. The third day, we will start it with our huge lecture about our software, the PL-PAC. We will talk about all applications in post-tension slabs, in slab beam types, application in foundations, in pile-pile interaction, in overall building, in a stage of construction, dynamics, everything. We will demonstrate series of practical applications, and we will tell you you can use boundary elements in your practical applications as a structural engineer. It will be followed by our Professor Xinghua. Xinghua Xin is one of the great guys in boundary elements also, and in Traftys method, in numerical method in general. He will give us very nice talk about Traftys and fundamental solution-based finite elements. And I believe I have done some work in finite element-based, fundamental solution-based finite elements. It is great, and I believe it will have very good future in the coming few years. Then it will be followed by Dr. Kamal. Dr. Kamal, he is going to present a lecture about local and non-local damage modeling using Shelby inclusion theory. It is a new methodology to carry out analysis, nonlinear analysis using Shelby theory. Then we will close up this workshop. This workshop is recorded, and all feedback you will give us to us. You have a form. You can give a feedback after the lecture, the 15 minutes after the lecture, or you can give a feedback written on the website over there, which I do prefer, because we will have you have it written and will be disseminated to everybody. At the moment, I covered everything regarding the workshop. I covered everything about our great speakers, and would like to thank them to be participated. I would like to thank all of you to be participated and give us feedback about all of this. I covered all of the 3 days, what we will have in the 3 days. At the moment, I will open a discussion. If you have any problem, if you have currently any problem in your connection, then we will have something like 20 minutes to have to prepare our tea or coffee, preparing for Dr. Sharif Murad presentation, first presentation about numerical modeling and system identification of historic masonry structure in historic Cairo using dynamic investigation tests. If anybody has any problem, please unmute and start to talk direct. Nothing. Everybody can hear me, so I will ask you at the beginning. We will be meeting you after about 20 minutes. We will come back, have your coffee now. We will come back after that, after 20 minutes exactly, welcoming Dr. Sharif Murad for the first lecture. Thank you, everybody, and we will have rest now.